Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and Salam for everyone. Greetings to the honorable judges and everyone else who watching this video. Thank you for your time, and may you all have a good day. My name is DEWA Komang Angga Bhuana. I'm a third grader in Senior 1 Tanjung and Senior High School 1 Tanjung, North Lombok, West Nusa Tenggara. I'm a first speaker of the government team for today's debate motion. This host believes that tourism brings more harm than good for developing countries. Tourism is often seen as a symbol of a progress. It is advertised as a way for poor countries to rise economically, to become known globally, to connect the cultures. But behind the colorful posters and smiles for the tour guides, there is a more serious reality, a reality filled with environmental destruction, cultural exploitation, economic dependency, and inequality. Today, I will show you that tourism, especially when not managed properly, which is often the case in developing countries, becomes a trap rather than a solution for a development. Let me begin with something very personal. Every country has its culture. Culture is the heart and soul of a nation. It includes our language, beliefs, tradition, values, art, and others. Tourism comes to developing countries looking for something exotic, colorful dances, traditional clothes, spicy food, temples, and ceremonies. But that's the problem. In trying to meet tourist expectation, many communities begin to change their culture. Ceremonies are turned into show. Tradition become entertainment. Sacred rituals are performed daily to entertain strangers. This is called a cultural exploitation. Let me give you an example in our beloved country, Indonesia. In Bali, the traditional kecak dance was originally a spiritual ritual, but now it is performed daily every night for random tourists, short, simplified, and commercialized. While this might bring in money, the cultural meaning behind the dance is slowly disappearing. This is not cultural appreciation. This is cultural for sale. And once cultural becomes a product, its true value is meaningless, is lost. In the long term, tourism doesn't preserve culture, it replaces it with something more marketable. The second point is even serious, damaging the environment. Tourism has a large environmental footprint. Tourism requires hotels, transportation, food, waters, electricity, and entertainment. Many developing countries are not ready to handle this pressure. Their infrastructure is weak, their waste management systems are underdeveloped, their environmental laws are poorly enforced. What happens then? Forests are cut down to build resorts, beaches become populated with plastic, coral reefs are destroyed by careless divers and boat traffic, wild animals are displaced or killed. Let's take another example. The tallest mountain in the earth, Mount Everest, located in Nepal, a developing country. Every year, hundreds or even thousands of climbers go there, but many leave behind a garbage, oxygen tanks, and even high human waste. Do you know that also dead bodies in Everest? That's why Everest is known as the dirtiest mountains in the world. In Bali again, thousands of liters of clean water are used every day to maintain swimming pool, air conditioning, and hotel gardens, while the locals are struggle just to get a clean water for their farms. And countries like the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, famous because of their beach, have been closed due to surf damage from mass tourism. Once nature is destroyed, it is very hard or even impossible to recover. So we ask, is a few years of profit worth destroying something that takes million of years to grow? Absolutely not. Now, many people will say, tourism brings jobs, it helps the economy. Yes, but only at the surface level. Let's look deeper. The majority of tourism jobs in developing countries are low wage, temporary, and insecure. People becomes a hotel cleaners, waiters, taxi drivers, souvenir sellers. These jobs may provide some incomes, but they rarely lift families out of poverty. There is a little growth, and in many cases, workers are overworked and still get underpaid. Also, who owns the tourism industry? Often it is the foreign companies, airlines, hotel chains, booking website, and cruise lines. This means most of the money does not stay in the local economy. It goes back to the countries whose are based from their countries. This is called economic leakage. So even even though tourists spend a lot of money, local community only get a small portion of it. What's worse, tourism creates an economic dependency. When a country relies too much on tourists, it becomes vulnerable to anything that stops tourism, such as pandemic like COVID-19, political unrest, natural disaster, currency crisis, and global inflation. During the COVID-19, countries like the Maldives, Thailand, and most of the Africans their economies are collapsed almost overnight because of the tourists stopped coming, jobs were lost, businesses were shut down, and people had no income. Let's reflect. What is the true development? What kind of development we want? Do we want a quick form of tourism while sacrificing our culture, destroying our environment, and creating a weak, unequal society? Or do we want an unsustainable development by focusing on an education, innovation, agriculture, local businesses, and a long-term industries? Tourism can be part of a solution, yes, but it is if it only well regulated, fair, and controlled. Unfortunately, in many developing countries today, it is not. It is rushed. It is unmanaged. It is dominated by foreign investors, and it causes more harm than good. So, in conclusion, tourism damages the culture it claims to celebrate. It destroys the environment that tourists come to see. It creates jobs, yes, but ones are unusable, underpaid, and unfair. It causes dependency, economic leakage, and inequality. And it puts local people in vulnerable position, often exploited or pushed aside. Therefore, we as the government team firmly support the motion. Tourism brings more harm than good for developing countries. Thank you very much for watching.